In the forested heart of Asante near Ejisu in modern-day Ghana, a girl named Yaa Asantewaa was born sometime between 1840 and 1850. She would later hold the office of Queen Mother of Ejisu in the Asante polity. Asante, also known as Ashanti, was a powerful West African state centered on Kumasi, dominant through the 18th and 19th centuries until British incursions intensified in the late 1800s. Its spiritual political unity was embodied in the Golden Stool, which Asante tradition says was brought down from the heavens by the priest Okomfo Onoike and is revered as the repository of the nation's soul. In 1896, the British deposed Asantehene King Agyeman Prempeh I and sent him, along with the other Asante leaders, into exile, ultimately to the Seychelles. With Prempeh I and senior chiefs removed, the Asante state's leadership structure was shaken, but not erased. Then came 1900. The British governor Sir Frederick Mitchell Hodgson travelled to Kumasi and pressed a demand concerning the Golden Stool, the sacred symbol of Asante sovereignty. Contemporary parliamentary debate soon recorded his fixation with possessing the Golden Stool to, quote, govern the country for all time, reflecting how the episode was understood in London. For Asante, the demand was sacrilege. The Golden Stool was not a chair to be sat upon by an outsider, but a spiritual emblem never to be profaned. Amid the crisis, Yaa Asantewaa emerged as the decisive voice urging resistance. Words widely attributed to her capture that moment. She said, "If you, the men of Asante, will not go forward, then we will. We, the women, will." A line that appears across modern retellings of the council at Kumasi. Whatever the exact phrasing at the time, multiple historical surveys agree that she became the war leader, an unprecedented role for a woman in Asante's recorded history. In March 1900, Asante forces launched a rebellion that became known as the War of the Golden Stool, also called the Yaa Asantewaa War, laying siege to the British fort and offices in Kumasi. A map held in the UK National Archives shows Kumasi ringed by Asante defensive positions and stockades during that siege. The fighting stretched through the rainy season into mid-year as British relief columns struggled through forest barricades towards the besieged garrison. Accounts agree that the war lasted roughly 6 months in 1900, ending only with substantial British reinforcements. Reported casualties were heavy, with figures commonly cited around 1,000 British deaths and 2,000 Asante casualties, though exact numbers vary by source. Despite the British military victory, the Asante succeeded in protecting the Golden Stool itself. It was not seized by the colonial authorities. Yaa Asantewaa was captured in the latter phase of the campaign and, with other leaders, exiled to the Seychelles. She died in exile in 1921. Several sources record the date in October of that year. Asante remains and regalia returned in stages after Prempeh I was allowed back from exile in 1924, part of a careful restoration of elements of Asante traditional authority under colonial rule. Even under British rule, Asante was formally declared a Crown Colony component in 1902. The Golden Stool retained its sanctity and ceremonial rule, and British officials eventually pledged not to interfere with it. The stool endures as a living symbol in rites concerning the Asantehene to this day. Across the 20th century, Yaa Asantewaa's reputation grew as rebel leader, queen mother, and emblem of women's political authority within Asante's matrilineal system, appearing in scholarly reference works and public commemorations. Her memory is embedded in schools, festivals, and public history projects that mark the centenary of the 1900 war and beyond. And in 1957, the broader anti-colonial arc she represents reached a historic milestone when the Gold Coast became independent Ghana, the first black African country south of the Sahara to achieve independence from colonial rule. Ghana's independence, marked March 6, 1957 under Kwame Nkrumah, became a beacon for the continent. So the story we tell is this: a queen mother from Ejisu rising at the moment of a cultural peril, mobilizing a nation around its most sacred idea, the inviolability of its soul, the golden stool. Her leadership turned a colonial demand into a line that Asante refused to let the empire cross. And though the empire prevailed militarily, Yaa Asantewaa helped ensure that the Asante spirit and the golden stool that signifies it endured.